Hi, it's Jeff.
And Denise from MouseSteps.com.
And this is episode number 544.
544.
Of MouseSteps Weekly.
Sponsored by MEI Travel and Mouseband Travel. We are talking about what is going away and what's coming to the Magic Kingdom in the coming years and the coming, next month. What we will be losing next month. But there is actually a lot at Walt Disney World that is here this summer or coming this summer as well. Like the Little Mermaid show, we really have enjoyed that, and the Villain show. Plus Disney Starlight, Dream the Night Away.
That's the most exciting for me.
Right, we'll be starting on July 20th. So once July 20th hits, you've got all these new shows and a parade that have come just in the past couple months.
Not to mention Cool Kids Summer, great for families.
Right. So there's so much to see here. Plus, we've got Halloween coming up. Hard to believe, but we're only a couple months away from that.
We already have our tickets to the first Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party.
And looking forward to Oogie Boogie Bash at Disneyland.
August 15th. Are you ready for Halloween on August 15th?
And we're talking Mickey's Not So Scary. And no, I'm not ready for that yet.
But we will be.
Anyway, what we're talking about today, though, is I was in on a meeting yesterday.
With the Imagineers.
Right, with the Imagineers, and I already have several articles about that. But today we're talking about the Liberty Bell, the Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America leaving, and then the new Cars area that will be coming to replace them in at least, a few years or more.
A few years.
It'll be a while. So, but anyway, Liberty Bell, Tom Sawyer Island, Rivers of America will be closing July 7th. The last day to
experience them
any
is
of
the
them
6th.
Is the 6th.
Right. We have our reservations ready. We'll be saying our goodbye to the, Rivers of America, the whole area.
And I am such a big fan of the Liberty Bell. We ride it almost any time we go to the Magic Kingdom.
But let's be honest. When was the last time we've actually been to Tom Sawyer Island?
Not Tom Sawyer Island, but I know a lot of kids love that.
Right.
So, but the Liberty Bell, yes. So anyway, the Walt Disney World Railroad will be in shuttle mode. So it will be open, but it will not be making the full circle tour. It will be years before we're going to see another full circle tour. And that's the same day, July 7th, it will start going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, it'll go from the Main Street
Fantasyland
station to the Fantasyland station and back. Not the first time though. This happened in the 90s, early 90s, like 1990 or so, when Splash Mountain was being built. Back in those days, it was Mickey's Starland station, and it would go from Main Street to Starland and back. So I've done it in the past, and it seemed to work fine. It'll work fine again.
Yes, I mean it's again not the Grand Circle tour, but it's still at least it's going to be open.
And they'll have some of the seats changed on the railroad, so if you don't want to go backwards, you can still, even though the train is going backwards, you'll be facing forwards. Some people like me don't like to necessarily go backwards.
Right. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
so
it doesn't matter for you.
Like when we go on
when we're on the monorail, I always try to go the direction that it's going. But I'm okay. I'm actually fine.
Or if we do People Mover,
right.
You're in one seat, I'm
you
in
always
the other.
Go backwards, I always
right,
go
I'm okay
forward.
with that. So what was announced, though, is a little bit more about, and what we talked about in this meeting was a little bit more about what is coming to Frontierland. And it still is Frontierland, although it's also, this area will be known also as Piston Peak off of the Planes Fire and Rescue franchise.
It's very interesting that Piston Peak does kind of exist, but I from what you've told me, this isn't a representation, an exact representation of that from the Planes film.
No, it's themed to the Rocky Mountains. I mean, it's not an exact...
Sort of inspired by it, right?
Correct. Like what we were told is, there's if you are going, I think to the Midwest, right? Mm-hmm. I have not been to Route 66. You can take Route 66 or you can go to the national parks. That's a couple things you might do there. And they've done Route 66. We've got Radiator Springs. This will be different. It's a national park. It is, inspired by parkitecture, so that's National Parks Architecture.
And there's a new character very much inspired by the national parks.
Ranger J. Audubon Woodlore. And they say he's a totally new character, but he's based on a character that's been around in the Donald Duck shorts. But not only that, in other animated
He was
shorts
a ranger
as well.
back then, yes.
Right. So like when I hear his name and I see him, I can hear his voice.
Me too. I can
right
hear his
from
voice
the cartoons. I know what he sounds like,
Right.
in the cartoons. And we saw like a little animated. He's going to be in like the visitor station as an animatronic, and we did see kind of a little animation of that. What
That's
he
so cool.
could look like.
Did it appear that he was full size in that?
Oh, it's hard.
Hard
I
to
don't
say?
know. Well, he wasn't full size when I saw him, so
Okay.
I assume he'll be full size,
So
but
cool.
we'll see, right?
I hope so. That would be very cool if he's like, full size vehicle.
I would think so. And so, but he was really cute, obviously, based on that character that we have seen so many times in the cartoons.
What you're seeing in the background is the new illustration, the new map that they released along with your talk.
And we also saw other concept art and such. And, the one thing we've noticed is there's a lot more water than we expected in the concept art and in this map. So hopefully that will hold. There's supposed to be like a lot of waterfalls and a lot of water features. And it looks, I think I already said, kind of like that river going by. I don't know how big. They did not have an answer to that.
And one thing we noticed from the old and new concept art is it looks like they're going to try to incorporate the old riverboat dock into the new area, which I think is nice.
Right. And so while we're looking at this, we were told the Imagineers had to figure out what the Cars characters would be doing in Frontierland to accomplish the storytelling, which is how the off-road rally race came about. And that looks like it will be a fun attraction. We did not learn anything more about the family. They called it a family fun attraction. We didn't really learn anything more about either attraction. So I am looking forward to finding out more about that in the future. The Cars characters are trying to hit it big and have the fastest lap in the West with the rally race. And also, some of the design team has already been on research trips. You know how Disney loves the research trips. And
I think they released a video clip of that on, I think it was Instagram or something like that.
Oh, that's right. But the artists and such, have been there. And the Imagineers are also looking at being careful with sight lines and noise and intrusion into Liberty Square and other areas of the park. So the sight lines are, already being worked on. And of course, remember the Richard Petty Speedway and then the Poly and how
Polynesian, you'd hear the race cars going around from the Speedway. But I think this will be very different because it looks like they have waterfalls and big like areas they could have background music. So when you're in Liberty Square, you're not going to hear the engines and all the talking from the attraction.
But also, as it gets closer, maybe let's say it gets closer to like Liberty Square, they could bank it a certain way. They can bank the attraction a certain way.
Yep.
So that's what they are working on doing. But also, again, waterfalls, water features, the geysers. You're going to be walking through the geyser field for the first time at Big Thunder Mountain.
I'm liking that geyser, kind of like an Old Faithful, is going to be going off. I'm really pleased in the concept art to see so much water. Water and trees, for me, a very good thing.
But again, everything's concept art.
I know,
even though that's what
But
saying.
You have to admit, it does look
I just want to make sure.
It does look like a nice forest there, quite a few trees.
It's supposed to be very lush. I mean, when I think about lush areas, besides like the Grizzly Peak at Disney California Adventure, which is amazing and was brought up. So I think that's sort of an inspiration as well for them.
Oh, what did they say about Grizzly Peak?
Not a lot, but just, think about kind of like that, or Wilderness Lodge. Like Disney has done really great theming for national park and, type
I mean,
areas.
we love the Wilderness Lodge. That is a great example.
But also when you look, I think Disneyland Paris, they will get tons and tons of trees and really make things lush. And that is what is being promised for here. And I hope that the map looks very similar to what comes about, because I think it will be really, really great if we're having these water features and the lush landscapes.
And I know I've seen that they're keeping the bridge, that current bridge that goes through Frontierland. That's actually very helpful when a parade is happening, if you wanted to get over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure or Big Thunder when it opens. And I guess, did they mention about anything new about Big Thunder opening early next year?
No, nothing was mentioned at all about Big Thunder in that context. And so you're talking about the bridge. there's going to be construction walls, but we were told, that they're not going to go up right away, but it will be like on the other side of that bridge. So if you know the little the little walkway that is, you use it instead of walking on the main path.
Especially when there's a parade or a
or the left.
cavalcade or something like that. And you can see in the concept art here, you can actually see that it still exists, that little kind of bridge over the water. And there's still water there. So it works, if they keep by the this little map here.
And hopefully they do. But I'm just glad that that little bridge will be, we have Disney Starlight Dream the Night Away coming next month.
Yeah,
so,
it's going to be a must. You're going to need that.
Right.
For crowd control, for sure.
And we were told the Imagineers are bringing the excitement and humor of the Cars world, including the Cars characters themselves. And of course, that includes the new character. And something else that they were talking about is, how does Cars fit in here? How could you possibly have, Cars here in Frontierland, as far as the time and the place? But there's many different times and places in Frontierland, unlike maybe some of the other Disney parks. But you have like Arizona, you've got the Big Thunder Mountain, Arizona, you've got the Bayou, like I think that's 1920s with Princess Tiana. You've got, they said upstate, and I never thought about it, upstate New York with Haunted Mansion, and then various times and places
representing
in
a frontier.
Yes. So I think it can work as they're saying. So I actually love, like, when we go to Disney California Adventure, I love Radiator Springs. I think Radiator Springs is one of the best places ever built. Certainly, let's say in the last 20 years, 25 years in a Disney park, because there are so many wonderful Disney, like Disney's Animal Kingdom was built more than that, and that was an amazing opening. But Radiator Springs as a land is just such a big accomplishment.
And I love Radiator Springs as well. But before we get more into our opinions, I want to ask one more question. Did they mention any familiar car characters, any of the classic Cars characters? One way or the other would be making an appearance.
Well, I think briefly we heard that, and I believe, the Cars you know and love, right? Like Lightning McQueen and Mater. They're in the concept art, right? And also, I think they were brought up very briefly yesterday. So I don't know if we're going to have new ones or if it's going to be mostly, those we know and love.
Was there any kind of timetable? I know I've heard multiple years, right? It's not going to be next year.
Oh, no. No, you can see how long things take, right? So I don't recall any timetable being mentioned, and it's certainly years. That is the timetable, years.
Well, it is very ambitious. Certainly, if it's up to the par of Cars Land at Disney California Adventure, I think it would be a worthy addition. I will be sad. I'll miss the riverboat. I won't really miss Tom Sawyer Island. I haven't been there in a while. But I won't miss the riverboat. But maybe with this new attraction, if it's truly an e-ticket, a blow my mind attraction, it could work out.
It's a pretty good size area for all of this. So it's almost, what I see of it, it almost feels like it's going to be a land, but it's not. It's going to be part of Frontierland, but it's going to be a very large area of Frontierland.
Yeah, the first thing you said is it was so impressive. Everything you saw was so impressive. And when they just released that one item, it doesn't really convey what you saw.
No, but I think that the fun map really kind of does a really good overview, because the concept art we saw, certainly is conveyed, by this, a lot of it.
Was there any mention of repurposing the riverboat?
No.
Okay.
And it was asked. So there were a number of questions asked, and I'm just going to say that I was part of a group that almost every question had to do with water,
Yeah,
because
that makes sense.
Everybody wants to know, and
I
or
would
a lot of the questions
love to see the riverboat repurposed somewhere. There's so many places it could go, from Disney Springs to Port Orleans. There's just many places that the riverboat could go.
It would be nice, remember when, of course, we have the Empress Lily, which is now paddlefish.
Right.
But it would be nice if they could do something with it. But I guess I don't know that it could be like, it's on a track, right?
Yes.
So I don't know what its
I don't foresee it going
durability
back
is.
and forth on on Bay Lake or anything like that.
Yeah,
on its own.
maybe they could use it as a restaurant. I don't know, but it would be nice to be able to visit it. And certainly we will be back. I'm hearing thunder,
Yeah.
and you're probably
Pay
all
no
going to
attention
hear
to
it's
the
thundering
thunder
out.
in the background.
It would be nice to. We will be riding it many more times. I
We
think.
have been riding it a lot, though. We do ride it on a regular basis.
Right. Like when I posted about it on Facebook and I posted a clip, like somebody mentioned, oh, now everybody's going to go out. And I'm like, we
In our
do it
case,
almost
yeah.
every time, just like the People Mover. I think as you get, all right, here's the one thing. The riverboat is something that can be for ages 0 to 100 or more. And that is the one thing that we will be losing. Like the People Mover can be for young and old. And as I get older, and I'm not riding necessarily the big attractions that I used to. I still do Everest. I'll still do
There's
Big
nothing
Thunder
we
Mountain.
won't do.
At Walt Disney World, yes. Other places, I'm not doing as much, right? Some of the very big coasters that I used to do, I'm not. So I appreciate a slow moving boat.
Especially in
and,
Paris, we love the Molly Brown.
We ride
I think
it all
that's
the
our
time when it's
favorite,
open.
our favorite river type. I think it's our favorite river of the parks we've seen.
It
would
is.
be Disneyland Paris.
The Molly Brown is of here, Disneyland, or the Magic Kingdom. The Molly Brown by far is my favorite.
And honestly, if there was a way to snap my fingers and send the Liberty Bell to Disneyland Paris so they could have their 2 boats again, replace their Mark Twain that has, I think, now fallen into disrepair.
Yeah, I
that
think
would
that's
be
not coming
that would
back.
be wonderful.
I don't.
We could sail it.
Send
We could
yes, send it
volunteer
over
to
the ocean.
sail it
No.
across the ocean with a
Sure.
ship full of volunteers.
It would be nice if Disneyland Paris had the second boat again, but we'll
Yeah,
see what
I don't
happens.
think it's going to happen. I think the bill to ship that would be a little high.
But I'm just saying it would be nice if they had, if the Mark Twain could have been saved and all too. So anyway, that is what we learned. I'm sure I learned some more that I can't remember, but that's a lot of it. And we are, it is now counting down just over a month until the closure of the Rivers of America, which will be very hard because it really gives so much kinetic energy to Frontierland. And right now, also Big Thunder Mountain is down, so there's going to be, it's going to be a little bit of a hard hit.
Well,
I think,
it's hard,
for now.
when you're used to something for, in my case, over 50 some years. I've been used to having this thing that's always been there. And now it won't be. It's hard, but in this business, you have to kind of expect there to be change. Sometimes big change, and we've survived it all. But it doesn't mean it's not sad and hard sometimes.
Well, it also means we're not going to see canoes back. We're not going to see the keel boats back.
I won't be riding those canoes anytime soon. We walk by it at Disneyland.
I know
every
we didn't
time.
ride it, but it's nice.
Not even tempted to go on those canoes.
But it's cool to see them.
Yes,
it's cool to see them, and so. It is sad when, we're going to see the Muppets at Disney's
tomorrow.
Hollywood Studios
Say our
tomorrow.
goodbyes tomorrow.
Right, we'll say our goodbye. There's a lot of goodbyes happening, a lot of hellos, but also a lot of goodbyes.
So that is another show. Again, this came up kind of unexpectedly, so we kind of pushed back our original plans, but we'll have a normal show next week. This, again, was sort of more podcast style with just us talking. If you like it, this kind of thing, let us know. We always
just
talk.
We
But now
always
this
just
time we
talk
don't have, because they
much.
only gave the one new image, we don't have a lot to go with this. So it's really just more of a podcast today.
But we also took some photos and video of we went to Frontierland
We'll
and
link
got a
to
little,
a very recent, the ride on the Liberty Bell. So you can see what it looked like the day before the announcement.
One of these days we might just switch to having a podcast. I think it'll be a lot easier. Then you don't have to put together all the visuals and everything.
You know what? For fun, I think I'm going to add the Mike Fink keel boats from the early 90s. I have a video on YouTube of that. I'll put that in there so people could see what that was like. And some other, I'll find something else from Classic Frontierland to put in there. So once again, that is another show. We want to thank our sponsor, MEI Travel and Mouse Fan Travel.
Head to their website and fill out that no obligation quote. They don't only do Walt Disney World, they do Universal Epic Universe was just open. They do Adventures by Disney, Disneyland Paris, everything, right?
Lots of other cruise
Disney
lines
Cruise
too.
Line,
Lots
yeah.
of cruise lines. So
Right, all the cruise lines.
cruise
They do all
experts.
right. I mean, she is like cruising almost all year round when she's not in the parks. All kinds of cruises.
Yeah, and you'll have to check out that website because they have an app where you can actually find out detailed information about an upcoming cruise that you might want to do.
We're
It's
going to
really
need
awesome.
to do that. We'll need
Yes.
to do that.
So next week we'll go back to our regularly scheduled show and back to probably talking more about Walt Disney World. We've been doing a lot. There's a lot more from Disneyland to talk about. We did a really nice character dining meal. I think I want to talk about. That was great. Do you
That was
remember that
really
one?
good. Yeah, the Donald Duck one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So we'll talk about that.
Is it Donald's Tales of Adventure? I'm trying to
Donald's
remember.
Tales of Adventure. That was very good.
It was the best buffet food we've had in a while. And it's not like we're doing buffets all the time, but the buffet food was much higher quality than I expected. And then
And
the character interaction was very good, especially when you go early and it's not that busy.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to say. I think we really need to, I don't want that to get too far by because I really enjoyed that and I
Right.
want to talk about it. So anyway, that's it. That's another show and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.